Hey, I am here to talk about the evil word cardio and why I basically don't do cardio. I do cardio, don't get me wrong, but I just don't do it the traditional way. So when people come to me and they say, look, should I get on an elliptical or a treadmill and run like a hamster for 16 hours a week, I say, if you want to. And then they come back and they say, well, maybe I should start running, and I tell them, if you want to. And then meatheads come to me and they go, do I really need to do cardio? And I say, well, your heart is a pretty important muscle, so you might want to train that one too. The best cardio is the one you do. Let's put it that way, okay? Interval training probably has more benefits than steady state cardio. I think the science is kind of swinging us that way, but being able to run 5 blocks might be an important task in life if the zombie apocalypse ever comes. So what I'm getting at is, for me, when I do cardio, I've got copious amounts of equipment at my disposal, so I can do whatever I want. I can do sled work, I can do kettlebell work, I could run back and forth like a maniac. Some of us walk around a lot, like I'm at 7,900 steps today on my pedometer at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So some of us walk a lot. I take about 15,000 steps a day, which is a very high amount. Some of us sit for a living. But sitting or standing jobs, I think the hinge is probably the movement pattern that we lose the most or need to work on the most. And so first I'm going to show you the hinge pattern, then I'm going to show you what I do for cardio, which is a 5 variation swing on the minutes cardio piece. Okay, so I'll explain that in a bit, but let's talk about what a hinge is, because I think people really struggle just to do a basic hinge. So a basic hinge is, there's a feeling associated with it, and let me show you the difference. So a squat, for example, squat is what we do to get on the toilet. It's pretty simple. I just go up and down. Now, the ankle, knee, and hip are all moving at the same time. In a hinge, though, there's a great deal more hip. The ankle's not doing a whole bunch. The knee softens. I never tell people to bend their knee in a hinge. I tell them to soften their knee if they run into hamstring tension. Here's how you teach your body to do a really perfect hinge if you just can't grasp it. Okay, you take a broomstick, put it on the head, put it on the shoulders, and then you take it and you push it onto the hips. Okay. Now, during this hinge, those 3 points of contact, head, shoulder blade, hips, have to stay in contact the entire time. And then you're going to bend over as far as you possibly can. Now, a squatter is going to do this. They're going to lose their head, or they're going to lose the tailbone, one of the two. But a hinge will keep all 3 points of contact, regardless of which hand I'm holding where. We'll keep that in contact the entire time. What I'm going to feel is hamstring tension like crazy. Okay, so that's a basic hinge, and it's the most important movement pattern I think we could do, especially as a sit-down society. So let's get to cardio. Now here's the thing. If my heart rate is 140 beats per minute for an hour, is that cardio? Sure, because we walk around about 70, 80, okay? Unless you're really unfit. If you're really fit, it might be 50. But the point is that if I do 140 beats a minute for an hour, that's cardio, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. What it takes for me to get there is by choice. I can do what I want, okay? So I could sit on a treadmill, attempt reading a book, do all kinds of spin classes. I can do whatever you want, or I could swing some kettlebells, and that's kind of the way I prefer to go. So come over here. I've got 5 swings, and I'm not going to do a great deal of demonstration on this because I don't want this to be a 100-minute video. Romanian deadlift swing, goat bag swing, don't blame me for the name, contact Dan John. Gunslinger swings, Russian swings, which is the traditional swing that most people know, and then the American swing, who of course bastardized it to everything. So let me show you the variations and what the purpose of them is, because they're technically digressions and progressions. So I'm going to take a kettlebell, goes behind my hips. Remember, the hinge is all from the hips until I feel those hamstrings. Now, what a Romanian deadlift swing will do will teach you how to load hamstrings. I don't care about the up, the kettlebell gets me up. Find hamstrings, get out of it. This sounds really stupid. Some people forget to open their butt cheeks, just like any other muscle. If I'm going to squeeze it, I should probably stretch it. If I'm going to squeeze my butt cheeks tight, I should probably let them go at some point. So open, 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 up. open, open, open. You should feel hamstrings. You should look nice and fluid. Okay, so that's a Romanian deadlift swing. If the broomstick was here, it would be a Romanian deadlift. So that's the name, okay? Goat bag swing, I love these. I think they're terrible. They hurt like a son of a bitch. They just are awesome. You should always do them. I'm gonna take the kettlebell. I'm gonna hold on to it this way. Boom, onto the belly button. Okay, I'm pushing into the stomach the whole time. Now I'm gonna hinge like any other swing, except instead of focusing on the stretch, I'm gonna focus on the squeeze. This never lets go. Hinge, squeeze. I don't continue through into lordosis, pushing the guts out. I snap and squeeze. Okay. Do that with 10 pounds or butt hurt for a week. It's terrible. Okay. Gunslingers, I haven't had a lot of practice with these. I've been farting around with them for about a week or two. I love them. They're amazing. They do force a lot more knee bend than all the other swings do. Okay. They're a little bit wonky because you have to make sure your knees don't cave in when you go to perform them. So these are fairly light. Now on a gunslinger, what I'm going to focus on is snapping the hip forward, whipping the kettlebells down. Snap the hip, whip the kettlebells. Whatever you do, don't raise the kettlebells. Okay. Now the Russian swing, or the traditional kettlebell swing, the kettlebell's got to stay as close to the crotch as possible. I think that's where it goes wrong for most people. Okay. You can also go a lot heavier when it comes to this one. So these were 20 pounds, this is 70. Most people go too upright. So this is a squat pattern. That's a hinge pattern. The American swing, the American swing is a Russian swing with a front raise. That's all it is. But, and this is a huge but, when I get from here to there in the Russian swing, where it goes wrong on the American swing as I continue this up is people let their hips go, anterior pelvic tilt, crush their lower back, and they complain about their lower back hurting. So when I transition from Russian swing into American, boom, hips all the way forward, glutes still squeezing. Most important thing, still squeezing. Then I take the arms slightly over my head, but never behind. I come back down. My glutes are still clenched until I end up about my nose. Boom, zipper. Okay, American swing. Keep squeezing your glutes when you do the front raise. I tend to use about half the weight I was using on the Russian swing for the American swing. So here's what I'm gonna do. Catch my breath for a while. This is my cardio. So my heart rate's 140 beats a minute, no problem. So I'm gonna go Romanian deadlift swing, go bag swing, gunslinger swing, Russian swing, American swing. I tend to do this for 15 minutes, but I'm only gonna do 5 minutes. So every minute on the minute, I'm gonna do 15 reps of each of the variations. Some are much easier than others. Play around with weights, but again, it's 15 reps every minute on the minute. So it may take me 30 seconds to do 15 reps. If that's the case, I get 30 seconds of rest before I have to start the next one. So the timer, I'm gonna set it to go every minute on the minute. You're gonna hear a beep, right? So first one, Romanian deadlift, 15 reps. Find your hamstrings. 1. Trying to get a deeper stretch every time you work on that hinge. It can be slower down if you can't maintain the curvature of the spine. Okay, it took me 38 seconds because I took my time. That only gives me 20 seconds of rest. Next one's going to be a goat bag swing. What I tend to do is I will wait until the timer beeps, but one thing I'll wait maybe about 2-3 seconds before the timer's going to beep and I'll pick it up. it's on the tummy. Goat back swings more than any other swing. You squeeze your glutes as hard as possible, almost to the point where you get them to cramp. So, hip hinge. Snap, squeeze, 1, 2. Throw some speed on it, but bang, you stop. You don't continue through. So it took me about 30 seconds. I'm already feeling the hips. When you do the 15 minutes of this, you'll get the most ridiculous glute pump ever, which is a terrible thing, but you like feeling your butt, I guess. Gunslingers, this is where my heart rate starts to really come up. Again, don't let your knees buckle, so take a fairly narrow stance. There is more knee bend on a gunslinger than the traditional, but still don't squat it. They're all hinge. Super high. Gunslingers are fun, okay? I did kind of whack myself on the side of the knee. You have to be careful with those. Don't turn the kettlebells this way. They should be palms down. Okay, Russian swings. Go heavy. A Russian swing, if you're watching it from the side, okay, you should see the kettlebell ends up really far behind you. Okay, it doesn't end up here where you can't see it. The kettlebell never ends up here in a Russian, it ends up there. So that's a heavy one. American swings get your heart rate even higher because I'm doing the same motion as a Russian but continuing through. No matter what you do, keep squeezing your butt on the front raise. Don't grab the kettlebell early, okay? I've got 10 seconds, I'm going to take it to hopefully get my heart rate down. So, there's 25 seconds left on the clock. I would go right back into Romanian deadlifts. I did this 3 days ago. I still feel my hamstrings and my glutes, and my heart rate is clearly up. So 3 rounds, 15 minutes on the minute, 15 reps. The Russian swing I think takes a little bit more instruction, so I'll do a separate video. If you don't hinge well, okay, so if I'm here, and I keep losing the broomstick off my glute, it's probably because your hamstrings are too tight. I just did a video on hamstring stretches. Go look it up. Thanks.